You're back. Welcome to Loading Back NUFC Away Days. It's great to have you on live tonight as we preview the massive game, Newcastle United against Fulham. So me and Chris are just having our weekly little giggle in the background as we come onto the air. But Chris, how are you, my man? How's things?
Oh, good, mate. Yeah, really good. Really looking forward to the game on Sunday. I think. Well, we were talking pre-show, weren't we, about the the league table, and Fulham are having a fantastic season. So to have Emilio on tonight is fantastic, and I think it'll be quite a joyous show because we're both feeling really happy with where our clubs are at the minute, and yeah, promises to be a great match. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Definitely. And look, Oliver, I wasn't looking for the brandy bottle. It is always right next to me, keeping me warm. So don't worry about that. But so many in the chat already. Jordy Team for Life, welcome. Lisa, our mod is in the chat. Welcome tonight. Les Stapleton, how you doing? Would I eat there? Great stuff to have you in the chat again. Craig Lee, Jules, welcome, Jules. Carl Seggy, welcome back. Not seen you for a while. Hope you're well. And obviously Oliver, Foxy, John. There's others, so many others I could talk about, and so many others that will come and join us in a second as well. And look, before we start, we have to say massive thanks to everyone that's shown their love for Loaded 5K. We made it. We made that 5K on the show with Keith Downey from Sky Sports on Wednesday night. So thank you for all your support. And look, it doesn't stop there, guys. Click that like right now for the show. Click that subscribe. Come and join the Lodi family. We're going to keep trying to build and give as much great content as we possibly can to all Newcastle United fans. And of course, that old banner coming up. Chris can't wait. Couldn't wait to get it in there. I love it. I love it, fella. But look, we all massively appreciate all the support that we've been given. But of course, this is away days, and we cannot possibly do an away days without having the opposition's view. And I'm absolutely, myself and Chris are delighted to welcome back Emilio from Cottage Talk. Obviously, I know Emilio from the 12th Man as well. Pleasure to have him in, and we'll get him in right now. Good evening, Emilio. I think you're on mute.
Good evening, guys. Good evening, Chris, Pete. Great to be back on the show. Like I said, do press the like, subscribe to the channel. It's a great channel, guys. Please do subscribe. Even as neutrals, just it's all good fun, good banter, and subscribe to mine as well. Cottage Talk, Teddy Nello. Please do follow us all. What a season we're both having, right? Where do we start?
I tell you what. This is just a dream for both clubs right now. And look, I'll get into it right now because you put a nice picture in the chat last night because you were playing. You were at Craven Cottage against Chelsea, a derby, a London derby, might I add. And you put this on just to kind of just rub it in a little bit to those Chelsea fans. You were there at the game. 2-1 it was. A fantastic victory for Fulham. And look, I have to say, you guys must be on absolute cloud nine right now. I'll put it up on the screen. Top 6, Fulham, top 6, newly promoted Fulham in the top 6 of the Premier League going into this next round of fixtures. Just come on, talk to us. Let us know how you're feeling from a Fulham perspective.
Where do you start, to be honest with you? Survival was always the name of the game. I think when, and look, half a season, 19 games we've played, and only one team has out-battered us and out-fought, and that was you guys I remember doing the show with you when we played your Craven Cottage. We had obviously a player sent off after 5 or 6 minutes, essentially game over, but that sort of triggered your consistency, your unbeaten run, winning run at the time, and that prompted you on to go into that excellent run to see where you are now. And you're the only team out of the 19 games we played where we've been out-fought, out-battled, and deserve to lose. The other 18 games, we've either won, been in them, or maybe just marginally the weaker team of the two. We haven't been outclassed or outbattled by any other team. So that's a credit to you guys, right? Yeah. But I was there last night. Expectations are high. Since when Fulham got the nerve and arrogance to believe that we can actually beat Chelsea? Our home record, or our record against Chelsea in the Premier League over the last 20 years, has been awful. I think I've only seen them win once. That was in 2006. And other than that, we've got a few draws at home, a few draws away, but we've just struggled to get any wins against them. But this was our best chance. And to be honest, I don't think it was a shock to see that we actually won. But it's a frustration I find, and we never get any credit. Again, you guys obviously give us a lot of credit. A lot of credit. In the other 12-man podcast, Dan and the team always give us a lot of recognition. For the general media, it's always Chelsea didn't do this, Liverpool weren't good enough on the day. Where's the credit for a small club like ourselves? We never get any credit. It's always someone else's fault that we've either won or lost. So it's our fault that 19 games in, we're sixth. It really frustrates me. I just don't find we get enough credit from the media. But aside from that, we're in cloud cuckoo land at the moment. We just feel, how long can this last for? We've got tough games coming up. Sunday's game is going to be a tough one. Players looked a little bit tired and jaded at times yesterday. We weren't at our best, yet we still managed to beat a Champions League winning team from 18 months ago. And their goalkeeper's worth more than the collective transfer fees of all our players on the pitch yesterday. Yet we still beat them, not playing at our best. We've played better this season and lost. So look, we're sixth. Let's get some more signings in January. Let's push on. Let's get maybe a little bit of a cup run. I'd like to see a cup run, and that we seem to be somewhat secure from a survival perspective. That was always the name of the game: stay in the Premier League and push on. I'm happy where we are. Even if we finish down a few positions, I'll happily take that. It's progress. We've got promoted, playing a good brand of football. We're all excited. We've got a lot to look forward to. We're not here for 1 year, 2 years. We're here for the long haul, guys. So we want to stay in the Premier League. So overall, ecstatic to say the least.
And deservedly so, Emilio. It's great to see, other teams, knocking off that traditional top six. I think Lisa put it in the chat. She said it's great to have other teams knocking off and knocking away that traditional top six and causing an upset. We did it earlier on in the season. You're doing it now. Brighton aren't too far behind as well at this moment in time, and it's great to see. So you fully deserve that. I watched the game last night. You fully deserve that win. Even with 11 against 11, you were creating chances after chance. It was a little bit of risk football. Later, there was a little bit of risk football there, but without risk, you don't get reward, and you got your rewards last night. But Chris, I wanted to come to you because obviously, from the perspective of Fulham. Fulham having a great season. I don't know if you watched the game last night, but they were very, very impressive. But the one thing I wanted to come to first, before you tell me about your opinions on Fulham in general, is this. And we talked about this before Emilio came on and before we went on air. We put the table on. And then during the conversation, I think I turned around to you and said, if Fulham win on Sunday, they're 1 point behind us in the Premier League. And it seems to be, and I'll let you talk about this. It seems to be they've just kind of snuck up on everybody. But look, what's your thoughts on Fulham, Chris?
Yeah, do you know what? I'll be honest. They kind of snuck up on me as well, because when you brought the table up, and we were talking about this, Emilio, before you joined, and when we were looking at the table, people was like, "Oh yeah, there'll be a point behind," and I was like, "What?" So bring the table up, and then we looked and we're like, "Oh my god!" I can't believe Fulham are 9 points from safety. It's like. And that's no disrespect, by the way, Emilio. It's just the fact that it's incredible. I mean, I still pinch myself now at our league position, and I'm like, bloody hell. We always felt like we'd have a positive season, don't get me wrong, and that, we weren't going to be flirting with relegation, but we didn't think we'd be doing as well as we are. And exactly the same as yourselves. And obviously, with me being from Liverpool, I have a lot of Everton friends, and they probably have a completely different opinion on Marco Silva than what you do. But Marco Silva, what a job he's done! What a job he's done with Fulham. And do you know what was equally impressive? I did watch the game last night, and what was equally impressive about last night was the fact that you did what you did without your main number 9. Without the main man who's been, scoring lots and lots of goals this season. I must admit, Emilio, when Mitrovic got, is it his 5th booking? I think it was his 5th booking, wasn't it? Yeah. We were all saying, oh, he's going to miss the Newcastle game. He's going to miss the Newcastle game, not knowing that there was a rescheduled game. And then it was like, oh, no, he's not going to miss that game. We love we do all love Mitro here in Newcastle. And obviously we're sad it didn't work out for him, but he seems to have really hit the ground running at Fulham and found a new home. And, a side without Mitrovic in. I would like to play a side without Mitrovic in, and I'm sure he's going to be pumped for the game tomorrow. But yeah, overall, Fulham is doing absolutely fantastic. Lots of players that I'd like to talk about in the Fulham team, because there's been some really, really impressive performances this season. But yeah, just to say, I think they've been absolutely brilliant, and I'm really, really looking forward to the game on Sunday.
Yeah, but I'd also look at again, to put aside the game where you battered us in October, all the other 18. There've been other games where, and I'm grounded and realistic. There'll be moments when Man United at home, we lost with the last kick of the game, and we battered them second half without Mitrovic. If we played, we would have won that game. So there's a point drop there. There was another game before that, Man City away. We dropped a point, 95th minute penalty. Then Mitrovic missed a penalty against Wolves in beginning of the season. That would have been 3. So I'm not clutching the straws here, but the points there, we should actually be higher. And all the games we have lost, we've lost marginally, but maybe deservedly so. But there'll be moments, those draws, those defeats against Man City and Man United, we lost 2 points. Liverpool at the beginning of the season, I think we battered them first game of the season, but 2 all broadly fair. But another day we would have got 3 points. So, I look back and saying 31 is a great tally, but we're disappointed we're not more closer to yourself, like 35, 36 points. And probably you've got the same instance yourself where you've dropped points late on, or maybe you should have won rather than drawing some of those games earlier in the season, and maybe feel that maybe you should have 5 points more on the board. But I'm being realistic. There's not many points that we've nicked, but we've lost points at crucial moments, which suggests the minimum we should have is 31. But realistically, I'm disappointed we've not got 34, 35, to be honest. So,
do you know what, Emilio? That's a fun.
We lost him just in mid-flow. We lost him. No doubt he'll come back to us. But I'm sure Emilio, he will tell us what he was about to say when he comes back. But it is a fantastic rise from Fulham, newly promoted and really kind of kicking on. In this season and doing the biz. So fair play to you guys. That is for sure. But look, Marco Silva has done a great job, and very much so. You did it last night and got the results without this man, Mitro. He is back. What is he going to give you that Vinicius kind of didn't really? Because Vinicius is, he scored the goal. And someone's actually put that in the chat. It's it's going to be really, really interesting because he did score the goal that ended up winning you guys the game. And Foxy, I'll just put it on 1 second, Chris. But brilliant goal from Vinicius, gives Silva a good headache now with Mitrovic returning. I mean, is it really a headache? Would it just be a straight swap back, or what's your opinion on that?
I think it will be a straight swap, and that was Vinicius's best game for us this season. To be honest, I was questioning whether he should actually have started yesterday. My view was actually that Chelsea defence is not the fastest, as we know. They're sluggish, they're slow, and they're very lethargic. And so I thought getting somebody. I know Dan James, not technically the best person in the world, but he's blessed with pace. And I was expecting maybe Silva just to mix things up a bit, put someone like Dan James in behind that Chelsea defence and stretch them, get penalties, get some free kicks, just with his pace and upset them. But the manager stuck with Vinicius. He's a permanent signing, so you've got to give him the chance. Otherwise, his confidence would have been shot to pieces. And he had a speculative shot in the first half, which went just wide of the post. He was winning balls. He was getting stuck in. And in that second half, to be honest, he didn't really get much service. But the one moment he did get the service, peach of a cross from Pereira, he was in the right place. He did what he had to do. So you can't ask for more than that. He's done his job, but I expect Mitrovic, unless he's picked up a knock in training this week, I'd expect him to be returning back in the starting lineup, and I'm hoping the Newcastle fans will welcome him back. What reception do you think he's going to get? Then, I presume he's going to get a welcome reception. What do you think?
What do you think, Chris? I mean, he normally does, but it's this is probably the biggest game Newcastle and Fulham have ever had, really, in the Premier League. So, do you think it'll be any different, Chris? Oh, he's on mute now. He's 1 minute he's freezing.
Jesus, tonight. Sorry. I'm having a nightmare, aren't I? Apologies, Emilio. I'm normally much more professional than this. Everyone in the chat will tell you that as well. But no, hopefully, my broadband lasts this response. But no, I hope Mitrovic gets a good response, because I certainly don't wish him any ill feeling. The only thing that may wasn't a harsh response or quite a ferocious response is the fact that, as Pete rightly said, it's a big game for both teams. But me personally, I wouldn't, give him a bad reception. And I'll be honest, I hope the fan base don't give him a bad reception, because Mitrovic is exactly the type of person who will thrive off a bad reception. So I hope everyone's just very nice, give him a little clap, give him a little cheer. Hey, if they want to break out into Mitro's on fire, that's fine by me. I'd join in.
Good to hear. But yeah, I think ultimately, look, he's a model professional. I think he'll obviously be applauding your fans. I think it's going to be a good, entertaining game. Probably an open game, to be honest. You're giving Marco Silva a little credit. Look, I questioned Eddie Howe when we had the conversation back in October. Do you remember I was questioning his, what's a big fuss about? I actually remember my quote then. But look, I have to eat my words here, to be honest. Look at that. He's taking your clubs to leaps and bounds over the last 4 months, and you deserve to be where you are. And look, you're getting a lot of attention. And like I said, we're only 4 points behind, yet we're not necessarily getting the much praise as you guys are. Not a criticism. I just feel sometimes the media not really giving us the respect that we deserve, to be honest. But maybe that's to our advantage. We just crack on, play our game. People maybe disrespecting us at times, and not we're punishing teams. 5 wins on the bounce? That's pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, it certainly worked, because I think there's a number of teams that probably haven't realised your rise until they may have checked the table last night, and certainly today it was the case for us, that's for sure. So is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't think so. You keep cracking on and doing what you're doing, and then see where you end up, say February, March time. So it's all to play for, that is for sure. But look, I want to talk about just a few players for kind of Fulham's perspective. One of the players didn't play in the reverse fixture at Craven Cottage, and is a player that I admire quite a lot. And I'll be honest, I'd like him in our Newcastle team, and it's Palhinha. I watched him really closely last night. Again, another very, very good performance. He is a super talent and a super player. You must be really, really chuffed that you've got him in your midfield.
Absolutely. He was suspended at the for that game back in October, and we felt that was going to be a big blow. And look, Marco Silva, give him his dues, doesn't make many mistakes, but he put in Chalobah, who within 6 minutes got promptly sent off. So so he's been outstanding. I don't think he was as influential yesterday, Pauline, in some of the other games. I think sometimes our central midfield got outfought and overrun by the Chelsea. They were just a little bit more. I think they were just literally more faster than we were. But Palhinha looked a little bit tired and jaded, which is a slight concern, because some of our players weren't up to the same level of fitness that we've seen in previous games. So maybe the games are coming in thick and fast, and fitness is going to be key for the next few months. But he's been outstanding. He's probably going to be in many people's top 11 players in the team. Would you question him being in the Premier League top 11, starting 11 lineup now? If you had to pick the starting 11, he's been outstanding. He's calmed his temper. He was picking up a lot of yellow cards over the season, but he's sort of withdrawn from a few fouls in recent times, I've noticed, and just being a little bit more cautious with his tackling. But he's key. He's key to us. He keeps things ticking. He protects that back four. He could score goals. He's a threat. He's going to be a future captain at this rate. And if we can keep hold of him, that's going to be the key thing. The likes of Liverpool, or they're already sniffing after him, they can keep their arms at length, please. We don't want any of those guys coming anywhere near our club. They keep shafting us every time with their purchases and signings and deals.
Well, look, Chris, I get your opinions on Palhinha, because look, why would Fulham sell to a rival is my question. Because Liverpool are a rival right now with regards to Fulham and Palhinha. I don't know if you see much of Palhinha. Like I say, he didn't play in the return game at Craven Cottage, but in my perspective, in my opinion, he looks a top player, and it should be an interesting battle on Sunday.
Yeah, it will. I mean, the way Emilio was describing him there, it kind of reminded me of like Bruno. He's like our equivalent of Bruno, someone who keeps the play ticking over, protects the defence, and is just a fantastic talent. And yeah, since he's come into Fulham, I haven't seen all that much of him, but from the bits that I have seen of him, on highlights and Match of the Day and stuff like that, he's always looked pretty impressive. I think. I suppose the question is, and again, you lads tell me if I'm wrong here, but players now, at the likes of Brighton, the likes of Fulham, the likes of Newcastle, if they do get that big, that big offer of going to Liverpool or Man United or Arsenal, are they kind of taking a risk in the sense that, they're not guaranteed first team football? And who's to say in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years that things don't turn on their head? Because I've said it a lot this season already, especially to me Liverpool friends, the fact that Liverpool are still up there, they're scraping results, but they don't look the same team. They don't look the same team. Man United don't, Tottenham don't. Arsenal are absolutely flying at the minute, and good luck to them. City have got talent throughout the squad, but Chelsea as well. They don't look the same, and I'm thinking, will these players be thinking, I've got guaranteed first team football here. I'm getting lots of praise, lots of attention. And if they go and join, a Liverpool or a Chelsea or someone like that, they could end up being a bit like, another Danny Drinkwater who comes in for a massive, huge price. And then the manager, the new manager, if they sack their original manager, doesn't like them, they end up sitting on the bench and then they just fade away. And I don't know. I mean, obviously they can offer big wages. I appreciate that, but so a lot of players nowadays, I think, they just want to be playing football. They just want to, get the names in the papers, get the names in the headlines. And I don't know whether now, based on the league and players thinking about the future careers, will they be looking and thinking, is it such a good move? Is the grass greener?
Yeah, great point.
Yeah,
Very much so.
We sold, look at Carvalho, we sold him, Liverpool, he didn't want to sign an extension last season. He was determined to leave the club. There was this time last year, Liverpool put an offer, we turned it down. That carried over into June. But as soon as the season finished, bang, he went off to Liverpool. Look, Liverpool are struggling, yet he's still struggling to find any form or to get into that starting 11 team. So again, look, he wanted to play for a bigger club. They're below us. He's not getting game time. So he obviously, clearly, as a player, 19, 20-year-old player, so I agree with you. He's gone to a bigger club, not getting the game time. So what do you want as a player? Do you want the money? Do you want the game time? Clearly, you want to make a difference, and he's not making that difference in a Liverpool side that's clearly a shadow of their former self. So stay at Fulham. He would have stayed at Fulham and would have probably thrived in this division, playing week in, week out, making a difference for us. But look, gone to a so-called bigger club, and he's disappeared off the face of the earth, to be honest. So I'm not disappointed in him anywhere near us anymore. He decided to want to leave. There is speculation that we were trying to get him back on loan, but why would we want him? You don't want to be there. I'd rather you stay away. You've made your choice. Good luck, mate.
Yeah. I was going to say, don't talk about Carvalho in front of us. The only thing he's done this season is score that mini winner. And we were there, Chris, at Anfield. It's the only thing he's done in the 98th. It felt like the 120th minute. Extra time the referee paid. But look, it is what it is. But yeah, that's literally the only thing he's done this season.
Just to add as well, Pete and Emilio, what message has been sent by Klopp to the likes of Carvalho, where he's gone and signed Gakpo? So his options are even more limited. So how's he going to get in that team? And eventually, he's going to 1, 2, maybe 3 years pass, and he's going to be going, I want to play football. Or what if Klopp moves on and the new manager comes in and goes, no, I don't like him.
Yeah, exactly. And it's wasted talent there, because then again, a team are more of a mid-table team, so to speak. Liverpool are mid-table at the moment. And I don't mind advertising that. There's any Liverpool fans listening on tonight. But at the end of the day, it's that at time, why leave a club promoted? He was an influential player last season. He would have thrived with us. But look, we haven't missed him, and that's the key thing. He's made his choice, and I don't want him anywhere near the club anymore. Thank you very much.
Don't blame you.
Yeah, don't blame him at all. This is brilliant from Michael, but whoops, I was watching the reaction show, wondering where you guys were. Definitely in the wrong on the wrong video. We are live right now, Michael. Don't worry about that. And Daz came back, classic Daz. Did we win? If it's the Arsenal one, then we took a point, but it felt like a win. All the others, possibly. So yeah, that was a good one in the chat, that's for sure. Question. I'll fly a question at you, and it's from Lisa, for Emilio. What position does he hope Fulham think they will end the season on, and what position would exceed your expectations? Question from Lisa.
Good question, Lisa. It depends what context we look at. If I look at it from the beginning of the season, as long as we survived, that was my objective. So that hasn't changed. I still want survival. Clearly, we're not many points away from that happening. But if we look at it where we are now, where do I think we realistically finish? I think probably mid-table. I worry that maybe if we don't strengthen in the key areas in January this month, we might slightly fade away. We've got games are coming in thick and fast. Obviously, the FA Cup. I know some of you guys say you don't want to mention the FA Cup, but as far as I'm concerned, I'd like to see us maybe push for a bit of a cup run. Some of the games have gone our way. Premier League teams playing each other, knocking one another out. There's a chance there. So now that we've got good points on the board, I'd rather we continue to focus on both, continue to pick up points in the league, but give the FA Cup the focus it deserves. I think there's a potential opportunity. We've got Sunderland at home in the next round, winnable. Who knows after that if we get in a favourable draw? So I think mid-table. I'll be happy with mid-table. Anything higher than that, I think, is a bonus, realistically.
No, fair play.
What a lovely position to be in, Emilio, as well. The fact that we're in mid-January and you're sitting, as I say, 9 points away from safety, and you're thinking, do you know what, a couple wouldn't be bad, because now you've got that safety net. So you can go and dream for the FA Cup, which is exactly what we're doing with the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just seeing someone ping that my team in Italy, Napoli, are also beating our rivals Juventus. So look, Napoli top of the Italian league, Fulham top 6. What more can I want as being a football fan? But keep me posted, guys. How Napoli are doing, please.
I'm sure we will. We've got a very well-rounded footballing. Football following, should we say, from the loaded chat. They love all types of football, as well as Newcastle United. So no doubt they'll be watching that game as well. And yes, just to calm all the joys down a little bit, Mark tried to have us all on by saying Garang Kowal just scored a wonder goal for his new team. What a goal. He is in fact on the bench, so he's not playing at the moment. It is still 0-0, so he's tried to have us on. Good try, Mark, but I think a few of the chat we're quite wise to it and managed to get in there very, very quickly. Get your questions in for Emilio. I've just seen a few flying in as well, so please do get your questions in for Emilio, and we'll continue to fire them at Emilio as we go along. But look, just before we get onto the game, we talk players, tactics, various other things. What I wanted to do is I just wanted to ask you about just one other player here, and he had another good game last night against his old club, and that's William. It seems like he's having a little bit of an Indian summer, should we say, at Fulham. He left Chelsea, went to Arsenal. He looked like a player that was just kind of seeing out his days at Arsenal. He was really, really poor, and then left. I actually don't even know where he went to after that, but I think he bounced around one or two teams, and then he's found himself at Fulham by chance. I think he was just training with you guys.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden signed. He looks like he's back to his best. He looks fit. He looks hungry. He looks determined. From a Fulham perspective, what are your thoughts watching him week in, week out?
Impressive, to be honest with you. I was one of his biggest critics. I sort of criticised the board at the time, thinking, is that the best we can do? I think we should be aspiring to get more younger players. But in hindsight, now they've nothing to lose. It was a 1-year deal. He did a bit of training with us pre-season, like you mentioned, and obviously showed enough qualities there to warrant a contract. And he's getting better and better each game. He tied the last 20 minutes yesterday, but first half, him and Robinson on the left were linking up particularly well, looking a threat. But when he gets the ball, you feel something's going to happen on the left-hand side there. You've got Pereira on the right. You've got Willian on the left. They're both looking very dangerous. And the link-up play is good. He's quick. He's hungry. He's always looking towards goal. And that's what I like about him. He doesn't want to walk the ball in the net. He's not afraid to shoot. And, he was determined yesterday. He only had one thing on his mind. He shot. Okay, they've got a deflection and went in the back of the net. But that all goes with experience and quality. And he's actually just molded into this team particularly well. It remains to be seen whether he can play twice a week as the game's coming thick and fast. I think he will start in. I think he potentially could start on Sunday, but he did tie the last 20 minutes. I think maybe don't be surprised if he might be put on the bench more tactically, because then we've got Tottenham away Monday week, or Tottenham at home Monday week, so another tough game. So like I said, games are coming thick for everybody concerned. But he's a lot of Fulham fans weren't expecting much out of him, and I think we've all been pleasantly surprised. So yeah, keep it going, Willian. Winning a lot of respect from the Fulham fans, and give me credit that he didn't celebrate yesterday when he scored the goal. So kudos to him there as well. But he's looking a threat when he's got the ball. You'd think something's going to happen.
Definitely. Chris, thoughts on Willian?
I mean, Willian's a top player, isn't he? I'll be honest. He went to Arsenal, didn't he? And he didn't really work out for him. And then Fulham signed him, and I was thinking, is he just going there for the one last pay packet kind of thing? And I was a bit bemused when they'd signed him, but yeah, he had a good game yesterday and seemed like he was back to his usual self. I suppose now, as I'm sure you'll agree, Emilio, it's just about making sure he's consistent and stay fit and keep grinding out those performances. But I'll tell you what, if you can keep him fit and he's still got that hunger and desire, it's one hell of a player.
He brings that experience and quality, and he's on the left-hand side, Robinson. I've seen a lot of positive comments from the fans on the show tonight about Anthony Robinson, who unfortunately will be suspended on Sunday. I'm not sure when those 5 yellow cards get revoked. I thought that automatically kicked in, but I'm not too sure.
It's the halfway stage of the season. It's the halfway stage of the season. So I think, so it's 19 games. It's on 19 games, but I think because I don't think it counts for you guys because the rest of the teams haven't played the 19 games. So I think it's like that accumulation. So I think it might, as Chris said this weekend, but I think you've just missed. He's just missed the cup. Shame,
because he's had a good season, and he had his critics last year in the Championship. Inconsistent, but he's picked up form. I think in the World Cup for the USA, he looked good. He looked solid. At the World Cup stage, and he's going to be a good talent. He's a player again, young, hungry, got pace. He's only going to get better, hopefully. So again, these are the sort of players we need to retain. Why would he want to leave the club? He's doing well here at the moment. Stay where you are. Push on for the future.
I would agree. Antoine Robinson was a player that we were linked with when he was at Wigan, and I think it was Wigan. Is that right? Wigan?
Yeah, Wigan. Yeah.
We were interested in him, and he has done really well for Fulham. He looks like a good player. So I've got to be honest, I'm pleased, and the reason why I'm pleased is because the likelihood of this man playing, Kazawa, will be music to Miggy Almiron's ears, because I remember I think Kazawa might have played in the first game, and
you're right, yeah, he did, yeah.
Miggy Almiron tore him to shreds. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that was if I recall, that was his first game in the Premier League, so he looked completely off the pace, being turned inside out by your players, and he was all. Then he picked up an injury as well. Then it's just, but he's had that. I think he's now back from injury. He scored a goal in the cup game last weekend. He'll be an adequate cover. I think he's better positioned now. He's started to adjust to life in the Premier League. So yeah, hopefully you're not going to batter him like you did 3 or 4 months ago. And then Mbabu also had a mirror against you guys 4 months ago. He's been kicked into touch, not even on the bench these days. So don't be surprised he's going to go off on loan somewhere. He's not in Marco Silva's plans, and he's a player who I thought I had high expectations of. Good player, good rounded player, good coming forward, but defensively totally out of it. It's not, very, very poor. And no, we haven't seen him for 3 months now.
Well, Mbabu, ex Newcastle, came through our ranks, and actually when he signed for you, there was a number of Newcastle fans that were disappointed because there were a few that actually would have called to have him back. So they were disappointed, but yeah, he just doesn't seem to have made it click at Fulham, and it doesn't surprise me that he's been out of the squad because he wasn't playing well whenever he got given an opportunity, and it just makes you think. We were disappointed that Rafa Benitez let him go because the games that he did play played really well. I think Chelsea game really stood out for us when he played left back. Yeah. And he had a really good game, but yeah, just not performed at all. So yeah, it'll be interesting. But we'll talk about those tactics in a second. But anyone for some stats?
Evening,
Like
lads.
magic, he appears. Good evening, Keith.
Evening, Keith.
Hello,
Hello, Keith.
Stato.
Hello, good to see you again.
Nice to see you again, Emilio.
How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. Hope you're well too.
Yeah, good. Thank you very much.
Brilliant stuff. Look, Keith, always a pleasure to have you on and join us for Loaded Away Days. What stats have you got for us this week with regards to Fulham? We've just been talking. It's going to be a massive game on Sunday. So, what have you got for us this time round?
Well, it's an up and down journey, so strap yourselves in. And I'll start with a big shock at the beginning. Newcastle's all-time head-to-head record in this fixture is actually slightly weighted towards Fulham. They've played 56 games. They've won 20. They've drawn 11, but lost 25. Head-to-head in the Premier League, 29 games. Both Newcastle and Fulham equal, 12 wins each, and 5 draws make up this fixture here. Fulham, the 12 wins is the most they've managed against any team in the Premier League, which I found surprising, but got a really good record against Newcastle, particularly around about mid-2000s to the late 2010s. Newcastle, though, have scored more goals in this fixture, 40 compared to 35 for Fulham, and Newcastle have the better defensive record as well, 9 clean sheets compared to 6 for Fulham. Managers, head-to-head here for Eddie Howe. He's managed 5, he's won 4 and lost 1 against Fulham, so he's got a good record against Fulham. Marco Silva, he's won 1, drawn 1 and lost 2 against Newcastle. Goalkeepers here, Nick Pope has 10 clean sheets for Newcastle this season compared to Bernd Leno's 4 clean sheets for Fulham. 2 strong goalkeepers there. Moving on to some players here. Callum Wilson, 4 goals and 6 against Fulham. And Mitrovic, I'm going to talk a little bit about Mitrovic here. Alexander Mitrovic, I'm sure you've spoken about as well. 11 goals in 15 games for Fulham this season to add to his phenomenal 43 goals and 44, which I believe was a record last year in the Championship for Fulham. Mitrovic has also scored in his past 3 away games in the Premier League for Fulham, and he could set a record and be the first Fulham player to score in 4 away games in a row if he scores on Sunday. And Mitrovic will become the second ex-Newcastle United player this season after Ivan Toney to score against Newcastle at St James's if he were to score on Sunday. Newcastle, though, just moving it back for the balance here. Newcastle are unbeaten in 16 Premier League games under Sven Botman when he's played. Okay, they've won 9 and they've drawn 7. I know you're a Sven fan, Pete. And this is the longest unbeaten start for any Newcastle United player in the Premier League and in their history in the Premier League.
I'm just going to stop you right there because there is some break. This is the away days, but this is some breaking news transfer related. Craig Hope has just announced that Newcastle are interested in Wolves midfielder Ruben Neves.
Wow.
He's monitoring the situation with 18 months left on his contract. Wow. That is big, big news. So,
just keep seeing it flashing.
As you just said, I'll read it again. It says Newcastle interested in Wolves midfielder Ruben Neves and is monitoring the situation with 18 months left on his contract.
Wow.
Ooh. We don't normally do this, Emilio, on away days, but he's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a player. And look, it's not that we've put a bid in, not that we're guaranteed to sign him, but it's the position that we're looking at. And it's a really, really interesting one. And I'm sure we're going to get down to it in many of the shows coming up. But yeah, Craig Hope has just put that out. Very interesting. So, Keith, I apologize, but we wanted to bring that breaking news to you guys. So everyone in the chat was watching. Please continue. Please continue.
I've got a feeling we might be seeing that a bit more over the next 17 days. That flashing icon, that siren, we might be seeing that a bit more. Hopefully we do. Hopefully Newcastle makes some big signings from now until the end of the transfer window. But just carrying on again with some Sven stats. Newcastle have conceded a goal on average every 166 minutes when Sven Botman's played this season, and that's the best ratio of any Newcastle player to have played about 200 minutes for the club in the Premier League. So it's a sensational bit of record there for Sven Botman, and just saying what a big impact he's had so far. And moving on to some general stats here for both clubs. Newcastle are looking to win 3 games in a row against Fulham for the first time ever. And they're also looking to do a double over Fulham in the league for the first time going back to the 2007-2008 season, which I believe was a half-and-half season where Keegan came in the second half. For the second time, Fulham are winless in their past 6 Premier League away games against Newcastle at St James's. They've drawn 3 and they've lost 3 in the Premier League since a 1-0 win in May 2009. Fulham did get a win at St James's in the Championship 2016-17 season, though, at St James's. However, if Newcastle beat Fulham on Sunday, it'll be their first home win against Fulham in about 10 years. So going back to 2013, they've got a brilliant record, ironically, at Craven Cottage, where they've won 3 in a row. But in the actual top flight in the Premier League, they haven't got such a good record against Fulham at St James. Quite difficult opposition, and that rounds off the stats there.
Very good. Well done.
As always, Keith, I apologise I had to interrupt halfway through.
Hey, if somebody signs on the dotted line for Newcastle, you can hit that siren as much as you want, Pete. It's great, the good news.
But no, look, that siren will be back, I'm sure, at some point, breaking some news about one or hopefully 2 or 3 signings that Newcastle make in this window. But yeah, some interesting news popping out Friday night with regards to Wolves and Ruben Neves is Newcastle interested in. Didn't realise he only had 18 months left on his contract. 25 years old, plays the number 6, great on the ball. We know what he can do from long distance. Is he the alternative to Tielemans? I'm sure we'll get into that as well. But great stats as always, Keith. Sorry, Chris. Go on.
No, mate. All I was going to say was I know we're going to probably get into Neves separately, but it's interesting, isn't it? Like as soon as you mentioned that, my first thought was, he's very much in the Tielemans mold. Similar age, not exactly the kind of fast-paced, all action kind of midfielder that I would expect Eddie Howe to be looking for, but technically absolutely brilliant. And I would put him alongside Tielemans, in the same bracket kind of player. Fantastic eye for a pass. Yeah. And it just, I don't know, maybe it's the skeptic in me. It just made me think, have we gone to Leicester and Leicester have been playing hardball and we've gone, well, let's go for Neves then. And just to maybe put a bit of a smokescreen up for Leicester. I don't know.
Anybody fancy a couple of Bruno Neves stats on the hop?
Go for it.
On the hop.
Do it, mate.
19 goals in 159 games for Wolves. 56 wins as well in those games. And most of them with the right foot as well. 18 out of the 19 with the right foot. And crosses, 145 crosses. Shooting accuracy is about 24% there. But he as well, he grabs a few free kicks as well. 3 free kicks, 7 penalties.
And let's not forget, guys, before we switch swiftly back to Newcastle Fulham, is that he's in a relegation battle. That's not where a player of his ability wants to be. So is he going to potentially force the move? Who knows? Let's wait and see. But that's the news coming out tonight from Craig Hope, friend of the channel. Talking all things Newcastle United. So anyway, we've got some fantastic stats from Keith. Brilliant stats as always, and some off the hop as well. This is why we love Double O Stato, because you're just popping stats from all over the place as and when they are required. This is why we love you, Keith, on the channel. Never ever change. But look, from our perspective, we're going to look at the game now, and as always, we always like to get the tactics board up. So we're going to have a look at the tactics board very quickly. So hopefully you guys can see that on there. I have put that team together with regards to who I think will play for Fulham. And that was based on yourself, Emilio. So does that team look right to you?
Yeah, it does. Obviously Robinson suspended, so Zawa would be a natural success for him there. I've taken Bobby Deckard over Reed off here. I think he looked a little bit tired again yesterday. Harry Wilson's coming back from injury, played in the World Cup. I will probably put him on the right there, to be honest with you. I think we keep Bobby on the bench. Mitrovic will start. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I don't see him not starting unless he's got a knock and not 100% fit. But I still see pretty much the shell of the team that played against Chelsea yesterday. And from goalkeeper right up to the attack. Leno, I'm going to call him out. He's been superb. Bargain buyer of the season, been outstanding. Some of your guys have commented the fact that the defense is probably our weakling. That is true. If we look at we've scored the same goals as each other, but you've conceded 15 plus goals less than us. The stats you've just mentioned on your defender there clearly articulates the fact that when he plays, you're conceding 1 every 2 games, whereas we're on average conceding 1.5 goals per game. So that could be the difference on Sunday, to be honest with you. So if we can keep it tight at the back, Paulinho hopefully will step up from yes. I thought like I said, he wasn't at his best yesterday. He just needs to rest a couple of days, get himself back to himself, and we will give you problems. We will create chances. The question is whether we can keep the goals out of the net, because your defence is miserly at the moment. You've got the best defence in the league by country mile, and deservedly so. So it's going to be an interesting battle tomorrow, because we know we can create goals. We've got good attacking options. We've got a lot of good attacking options on the bench as well. So it'd be interesting to see if we can keep it tight. This game could go either way, to be honest. But but it's I'll take a point. But we'll talk about. I'm sure we'll talk about predictions after. But that starting lineup for me is what I think Marco Silva will go for on Sunday.
Interesting, very interesting. So we've had the Fulham perspective. Now, I do apologise with the Newcastle team, because
Pete, that's why I was in shock. I was like, "Oh
no, this is my team." I was rushing beforehand that I didn't actually do it. So this is my team for Sunday. I apologise. I'm going to put the question out to you. I'll start with yourself, Chris. That's my team for Sunday. What would you change, or will you be happy with that team?
I've got to be careful how I say this.
I'll put you on the spot here, haven't I?
Yeah. No, absolutely, mate. For me, I don't think Joe starts. I really don't. I think everyone's gone a little bit overboard on it, if I'm honest. People do make mistakes, and I'm not condoning for 1 second what he did. I think it's, totally irresponsible. It's not professional. It's highlighting things to the club that, it's putting the club in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons, and all the press has been so positive, and everything around Newcastle is positive. So I know Eddie Howe and the owners and everybody will probably be really disappointed in Joe behind the scenes. And for me, I think Joe Linton will be dropped for this game. That's not to say that he won't be, brought back in at some point, but I think this is a perfect game, because last game, no. I think, and I'm pretty sure, Pete, Joe Linton started left wing in the last game against Leicester. And I think it's a perfect opportunity to get Alan St. Maximin back on the team and say, right, here's your opportunity. You've been waiting for it. You start left wing. I think Bruno will be in the holding position. I think Longstaff will be on the left, and I think Willock will be on the right. So Yeah, Willock and Bruno the other way around, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But other than that, Pete, absolutely that team. I personally just don't think it's a good idea to start Joe Linton because again, I think everybody will have the knives out and everybody will be gunning for us if we start Joe Linton. I mean, look at totally different scenario, I know, but look at the way West Ham dealt with Kurt Zuma, which I thought was totally wrong as well, being honest. I think Joe Linton should be left out, and then maybe reassess the situation the following game. But yeah, for this one game, I think Joe Linton should go out. Whether he will or not, I'll get behind him, obviously, but I think he should be left out.
Keith, what are your thoughts with regards to Newcastle? Do you agree with what Chris is saying with regards to Joe Linton and ASM, or would you put Joe Linton in and have ASM on the bench as has been in previous games?
Well, Eddie's 50-50, isn't he? He's not too sure, Eddie, and it's going to be interesting. He's playing his cards close to his chest on that one. I'm more in line with what Chris is thinking, really, because I think if Joe Linton starts, the pressure's going to be magnified on him, like any misplaced passes or anything, or any mistakes or anything. I do think, it's probably better when he comes back in that he is back at home rather than away, because I think he could get a lot of stick away from home. But I think really, he probably needs to come out for a bit, and probably ASM has been chopping at the bit for a chance. Why not stick ASM in? If ASM's been getting his fitness back in, put him back in. This is the game for him now. At home, St. James's Park, prove your point, ASM.
No, I think
just to jump in, Pete, on what Keith's just said. The only thing I'd say, Keith, and again, I might be wrong, you were saying that Eddie hasn't made his mind up, he's 50-50. I think Eddie knows exactly what he's going to do. But Eddie Howe being Eddie Howe, this is an opportunity. Yeah, this is an opportunity for him to not let anything away. I think Eddie Howe's already made the decision. What I found interesting as well is Craig Hope said following the press conference that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Eddie Howe has had a discussion with the owners about what should be done over Joe Linton. So for me, a lot of discussion's been had, and I think Joe Linton will be aware as well of what's happening on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, but it's whether he deems it that the internal fine and the internal punishment in the club is enough to kind of suffice, and that it doesn't need to be taken out onto a punishment on the pitch. That's where the 50-50, I imagine, from Keith, from your perspective. In terms of where we're at with regards to Eddie Howe. But look, regardless of that, whether it's ASM or Joe Linton, it's still a strong team, a very strong team, in fact, and it'll be very, very interesting. What I want to get your thoughts on, Amelia, because I know you've got to shoot very soon, is just very quickly, where do you think Fulham can win the game against Newcastle at St. James's Park? Where are your strengths? Where do you think you can get that victory?
I think set pieces, I think, is going to be key for us. I think it's getting, creating those corners, getting free kick. I think we've got a great record on set pieces at the moment. Pereira's got I think he's second most assists in the Premier League at the moment. I think he's got his ratio stats, and I'm sure Keith, you could find out quickly. But Pereira's stats have been outstanding. We've got him a bargain buy, and he's growing in confidence game by game. He's assisting, he's scoring, he's dangerous at set pieces. So I think that's going to be key. I think the midfield battle is going to be key on Sunday. I think it's going to be if whoever's going to win that, I think could potentially go on and win the game, comfortably. I just worry that Trippier, with his quality from set pieces, is a worry for me. But for Fulham to win this game or to suddenly get something out of the game, Wilson against Dan Burn, pace against Dan Burn, and no disrespect, he's a former player of ours, has grown in maturity as a player, he's being coached appropriately by Eddie Howe. But I see there's an opportunity to stretch him, to be honest, with our pace and some set pieces is going to be the key. Then we've got to start, Mitrovic's got to do what he does best. Bully your central defence, pick up some key, get some corners, free kicks in key areas. And we know we've got good quality in the likes of, Pereira, Willian, Wilson. They're all going to be bombing down the left and right side there, to be honest. But that midfield battle is going to be key. Paulinho needs to step up from his performance, yes, as does Harrison Reed. And let's keep it tight and protect that back four. But if we're not informing that centre midfield, and you open us up, then yeah, again with Trippier with his crossing, and Wilson, I've seen a couple of comments saying that maybe he's been a little bit off colour since the World Cup. That would be encouraging, but he has got a good record against us in recent times, and he's there. He's a good poacher. I worry about that, and our defence, as I mentioned, is our weak link. So that's for me. It's big, patient, good build-up play. We do play, ironically, better away from home than we do at home. Funnily enough, we play with that. Try to play on the break and on the counter. So this could be an open game. This could be a very open game.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Look, I know you've got to leave us soon, so I want to get the lads' thoughts about Newcastle, but I'll just before that, I just want to get your prediction, what you think is going to be the score come the Sunday afternoon around the 4 o'clock-ish mark. What do you think, Newcastle against Fulham, Amelia?
Got to be bullish. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I'll take the point. I'll take the point on Sunday. I think it's we're in good form. We've got confidence is sky high. The belief is there. As long as we don't, I think we can get something out of the game. Anything more than that will be a bonus. But it's that miserly defense of yours, 11 goals. I think you conceded all season. We've got to be patient and work hard, and battle. This is going to be a battle. You guys are going to, at home, the pressure's more on you guys than it is on us. So we can play with confidence, no fear. Are safe. We're pretty much safe in the Premier League at the moment. So it's one of those games where nothing to lose. We've had some good victories at St James's Park in probably in the early 2000s and up to around 2010. But we can definitely get something out of this game. But I'll take a 1-1 draw, to be honest with you.
1-1 draw. Interesting. So look, we've literally got you for one more minute. So I'm just
I can stay a few more minutes if you want me to. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I tell you what, we'll come back to the screen in a second because there's a number of questions. Chris, I don't know if you want to fly them up. There's a few from Emilio. So just before we leave, we'll flag these questions up for you. Some great ones.
Yeah, no, there is absolutely great ones. Amelia, what I'll do is I'll just throw these questions at you, and obviously just answer them as quick as you can, so I can get through as many as possible. Let's have a look. Okay, so a question for Emilio from Michael Pomar. You're still owned by Khan, right? How committed is he in the project at Fulham now, and is he someone who will build on the success you've had?
Definitely. I think he's had 3 relegations in his time at Fulham, but he's always put his money in his pocket. He's invested in the new stand, which will open fully next season. He's spending millions. The first time he got promoted under his reign, 4 or 5 years ago, we famously spent 100 million, and he learned from that from 2 years ago when we sort of be a little bit more subtle with our transfer signing, and we had the wrong manager then. With that squad, we should have stayed up, but Scott Parker wasn't the right fit for the club. But now the balance is right. We've made some shrewd signings in the summer. These guys are here for the long haul, to be honest, and they want success at this club. And I'm sure now they can finally say, look, they've managed to get the club promoted and stay up. They'll be committed. I'm hoping there'll be some purchases this January, and then we push on in the summer. Start to exit some of those fringe players, build some more quality and depth, and next year we can push on again. I think we have to believe that this club can stay in the Premier League and can compete against some of the big clubs.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Lisa Mole says, this isn't a question, Emilio. It's just you've got to beat Sunderland. Do it for your Toon friends. No. And Geordie Toon for Life goes one step further and says, Emilio, if you don't knock Sunderland out of the cup, you're banned.
It's a winnable game, but I hope we give it the club the respect it needs, because that could be a tricky tie. Sunderland, the pressure will be on us, Premier League against a third-tier team, and our record against Sunderland in recent times, isn't particularly great. The years I've been supporting Fulham.
Mr. C asks, thoughts on your upcoming player, Luke Harris at Fulham. Here he is a Newcastle fan growing up.
Yeah, it's he's had a few minutes at the end of the games when either the game's been settled or just give him a bit of game time. He wasn't in the squad yesterday, interestingly, but I don't think he was in the squad. But he's young, he's hungry, he's got a lot of talent. We've got to utilise him appropriately. He's a future player for us, But at the moment, we're still a little bit short in the attacking options. I think Vinicius, best game for Fulham yesterday, but when Mitrovic is not around, I don't think we've got enough depth there. Harris is too young, no experience, so we're lacking attacking options. So when Mitrovic hasn't played in some of the games this season, we've lacked clinical options there, and Vinicius has been a little bit off colour, a little bit sluggish. But give him his dues; he did the job yesterday and played his best game. But I'm not sure he's a long-term option as a backup for Mitrovic, though.
Yeah, no, I see that, mate.
Yeah.
Foxy asks, and obviously we've already touched on Kevin and Babu. So Foxy, if you missed that, do rewind, watch it back. But he also asks about the situation with Manor Solomon. Always rated him at Shakhtar, but he's been unlucky with the injury.
Yeah, absolutely. He came on for about 10 minutes yesterday for Willian. Didn't really get much of the ball, but looks quick. He's not the biggest of chaps, to be honest with you. But I'm excited. We unfortunately picked up an injury right at the beginning of his career at Fulham, and he's can't give him his dues. He's recovered from injuries. Now worked his way through fitness and training in the squad. Now he's got game time. I don't think he's going to start on Sunday. I think he'll probably get some game time later on. But yeah, I think he's someone I'm quite excited about. I don't really know much about him, to be honest with you. I think it's a lot of high expectations when he arrived. But it's a shame that he picked up an injury immediately. But yeah, I think he's got a good future for Fulham if he can stay fit.
Life Goals asks, Emilio, is it time to ditch Kearney? Clearly a lower league talent. Do you agree with that comment?
The latter statement's a little bit harsh. It's sort of, look, he's done his time. He comes on, makes a difference. Yesterday, for example, he calmed things down when he came on. When Felix got sent off, it was the right moment for Tom to come into the squad and just really steady the ship. He's got that composure. He's not good enough to start in week out, but there's been some games this season he started and actually made a difference and had some good games. But clearly, he's not a regular starter. He's a squad player. He'll come off the bench and sort of add a bit of experience, calmness, composure. But will he be here next season? It remains to be seen, to be honest with you. I think he's still got an opportunity to play more regularly in another club, but great servant for the club, and I love him to bits.
And I've got just a few more questions. And to be fair, we didn't ask you this question actually before when we were talking about lineups, Emilio. So we were talking about Joe Linton and St. Maximin. Would you prefer to see Joe Linton play after what's happened, or would you, or which one would you prefer not to play? Because to coin a phrase, says obviously there's a potential for Maxi to start, and obviously he's going to have a point to prove. So from your point as an opposing fan, who would you like to see play?
Probably Maxi, to be honest. Again, I haven't seen, he's been in and out of your squad, hasn't he, in recent times? So he's not been a regular. Joelinton's always had, in recent seasons, caused us problems, to be honest with you. I think it's the right thing optically that Eddie Howe doesn't play him tomorrow. I wouldn't even play him off the bench. I think he shouldn't be in the squad, for what he's done. I think that will set the right tone at the club. It won't be tolerated, and he'll learn from that and probably come back stronger for you. He's given, it's okay, don't worry, don't do what David Moyes did with the other player at West Ham, then I think it's setting the wrong tone for Newcastle United Football Club. So I'm pleased he's not playing, because he's caused us problems in recent years, including the game at Craven Cottage in October. So, but Maxi, I don't know what I'm going to get from him. He's a promising career, inconsistent. He can do the unexpected sometimes. So yeah, I don't know what to expect. But Joelinton is, steady, quality, and like I said, he's posed us a lot of problems in recent times.
Yeah. Couple more questions for you. Got one here from Craig Lee, Emilio, saying, do you expect any bids for Mitro now? Is that in January or even in the summer? Do you think Mitro's there to stay, or do you think there is a potential for someone to come in, certainly if he carries on the form that he's produced so far this season?
No, he won't leave. He won't leave the club. It's there've been some sort of sneaky bids I'm hearing, or people sniffing around, but why would he want to leave, to be honest? If we can finish in a decent position at the club and help us push on. He's still 27, 28. He's still got a few more seasons in him. I don't see him leaving, to be honest, unless he fancies his chances playing in the Champions League and take it to the next level. But why would he want to leave Fulham? He's on top wages, loved by the club, the manager, the fans. He's thriving. He's at the peak of his career. He should stay where he is for his own sake, to be honest. I don't think people will make bids, or they'll be sniffing, but the club will tell the other teams where to go, basically.
Yeah. And then the last question. Sorry, Pete, were you going to say something? Sorry, mate.
No, I said fair point.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, by the way, we've just had a goal. Oh, no, we haven't. No, it's half time. Sorry. Aston Villa leads 1-0. Aston Villa lead at half time. Okay. Apparently, Leeds have been flying, though, according to the chat. Everyone's saying Leeds should be ahead. Last question for Michael Pomar. So, are you worried that Marco Silva could be poached by one of the many bigger name teams that are struggling, like West Ham or Everton. He's doing a fabulous job for yourselves at Fulham.
Yeah, he was at Everton previously and sort of, didn't really thrive there. There is a bit of a doubt there. I know that these negotiations are taking place about extending his contract, but I know Marco Silva, he's going to want some assurances from the owners about squad depth, pushing on more quality. There is a bit of a risk there, because if our owners don't play ball, Marco Silva's the one who throws toys out of the pram and can walk out of the club. He won't be afraid to do that. He said, look, I've got you promoted, potentially finishing mid-table, if not further up the table. He won't have any fear. I think there's going to be a bit. That'll be interesting. I'll probably say there's a 25% possibility that someone else can come knocking on the door. He was touted for the Portuguese job, I think, wasn't he, nationally? But then, I think he turned that down, or just politely declined the offer. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion he'll stay. He'll want some assurances around transfer funding, him choosing the players, and continue to have that involvement in purchases and transfer signings. If he doesn't get that, then there's a possibility he might walk. So yeah, I am a little bit nervous.
I mean, to be fair, Emilio, we saw that at Hull, didn't we? When Everton made an approach when he was at Hull, and then Hull went on this real downslide, and then Hull sacked Silva, and then Everton snapped him up. So
he's the type of manager who's ambitious, wants to be successful, and he wants backing as well. And sometimes that backing has to come financially. And many Fulham fans question some of the depth of the transfer signings in the summer. We thought maybe could have gone further than we did, and he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. He spoke his mind a few times around maybe the lack of depth, but some of the Championship players have pushed on and done a great job, and that's due to the coaching staff and himself. But those players aren't maybe being a little bit harsh here. They've got us to 6th place, but are they consistently able to operate at that level? And that's probably where I'm coming from. I think some of those sort of Championship players who've done a great this season, are they good enough to continue to push the club on? And that's where the club need to dip their hand in their pocket and start to invest for the long term. But if he doesn't get that assurance, then there's a risk he could go.
Any others before we let Emilio go? Because obviously you've answered a number of fantastic questions there.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you very much for the questions.
Okay. So Rich Jobling says, we have you a good hammering at Craven Cottage. We gave you a good hammering at Craven Cottage. What's changed since then? Obviously, the red card just changed the game, and that red card came really early in the game as well.
Yeah, very early. I just look at that just one of those games where literally it just wasn't meant to be. We had the red card, we had the injuries. There was a couple. I remember there wasn't a couple controversial decisions. I'm being unbiased here, but I'm sure there was a couple decisions maybe didn't go our way, but. Overall, it's just one of those games where you're going to get 1 or 2 every season where just whatever happens, it's not going to go. Things are not going to go for you. And I thought that was just a game we wrote off. And we've then gone back to the way we were playing before that, where we were competing, scoring goals, causing threats. Yes, we still concede goals, but it's the fact that we know we can score ourselves. I think that's what the defense is done, like playing against Mitrovic and others. And there's goals in this team. Mitrovic isn't the only one scoring goals. The Williams, the Pereiras, they're all chipping in with goals here. So I think at the end of the day, we've just carried on where we left off prior to that game, and after that, we're competing in every game. I think that's the key thing. And that Newcastle game, you deserve to win, and you missed a chance after about a minute, didn't you? 2 minutes in, and Wilson should have scored the first goal. Yeah. But overall, you deserve that victory. But like I said, you're the only team that's really battered us and deserved to win outright that against us in 19 fixtures this season.
Oh, interesting. Look, Emilio, you've been amazing tonight. Thank you for taking time to join us. I know obviously your time was obviously very limited, and you're a busy man. But thank you for taking the time to come join us.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
As always, for all things Fulham perspective. Just remind us your prediction again, just before you leave, so for those that might have joined since that.
1-1. I'm going to go for 1-1. 1-1.
So he's going for Fulham to take a point.
Yeah.
Well, it's live on Sky Sports. We're all going to be watching it, so let's check that out. But look, Emilio, pleasure as always. We'll let you go. Would love to have you back on later on in the season when we're likely to have another battleground Europe. So
We
definitely
can
be
only
keeping
dream,
on.
right? It's let's keep up the good form on Sunday accepted, but otherwise, look, we've got a lot to celebrate, both sets of fans. So it's I think you would have bitten everyone's hand off to be where you are. So will we. So to be honest, let's carry on the good form and hope we both finish in Europe next season. We can only dream, right? We can only dream.
Definitely.
Absolutely,
We'll
mate.
keep flying the flag. But you take care. Speak to you soon. Have a great weekend.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, mate.
Take
care.
Great to have Emilio on. Superb guest as always. He knows his stuff with regards to Fulham, but also with regards to other clubs as well. And his opinions on Newcastle have been excellent. So always a pleasure to have Emilio on. But look, normally at this point we'd be kind of bringing the show to a close, but look, we did have some breaking news tonight, so why not discuss that a little bit more? Chris, what are you doing, man? Why you keep putting the breaking news on for?
That's gonna be a new thing now. Just keep flashing it. When Daz is on with us, he'll go mad if we do that.
The news that Craig Hope brought to us tonight, Ruben Neves is a player of interest for Newcastle United in that number 6 position. We are monitoring the situation at this moment in time, but it's one of those that he's got 18 months left on his contract. We are keeping tabs on him. He's a number 6. Clearly, that's a position we're looking at. Look, I'll go around the houses again. I want to get both of your opinions on this. Look, Chris, we talked about it briefly because we wanted to get back to Keith's stats on the game. But just Ruben Neves, just what were your initial reactions to that news potentially coming out that he's a player of interest?
Like I was shocked at first. Like I think my face said it all. I was a bit like, Jesus, like Ruben Neves is a great player, and I think he's got to be someone you're interested in, especially with only 18 months left on the contract. And what is even more pleasing is the fact, Craig Hope, very respected, very, in the know kind of journalist. So when he's talking about players, it does make you kind of sit up and go, okay, there could be something in this. I suppose my only hesitancy around it is the fact that, technically Ruben Neves is a fantastic footballer. We've seen that firsthand, haven't we, Pete? He's a very, very gifted footballer, and he's at the right age, could be at a reasonable price. I suppose for a deep line number 6, the fact that he's not, or he doesn't get around the pitch all that good is maybe not much of an issue. I don't know. But he doesn't cut, the way we've got like Sean Longstaff, we've got Joe Willock, we've got Joe Linton, energy, pace, buzzing around the pit. Ruben Neves doesn't do that. Probably because he doesn't need to, really, because technically, as I say, he's brilliant. He reads the game fantastically well. I don't know. I'll be honest. My first initial reaction, as soon as it was said, and maybe it's because I've become more cynical now. I don't know. It just made me wonder whether we've gone to Leicester. They've come back with a silly price for Tielemans. And we've gone, okay, well, we'll go elsewhere, or we'll maybe put the panic, set the panic up into them kind of thing, and go, all right, well, we'll go elsewhere then. And then these rumours come out about Neves, and then they could ring us back and go, oh, okay, well, what about the Tielemans deal? I don't know. It's come left field. I wasn't expecting it. But wow, a midfield of, say, Joe Linton, Bruno, and Neves, it's got to be up there with one of the best midfields in the league. That it's got to be.
Definitely. Look, Keith, I want to get your opinions on this. Ruben Neves, you threw some quick-fire stats at us that we weren't ready for on the loading because you were just on the ball. Ruben Neves, would you take him? What do you like about him as a player?
I mean, just to add to Chris's point there about not really getting up and down the pitch, I mean, there is a bit more accuracy with Neves, though. I mean, 933 accurate long balls. So I mean, Newcastle in the past have relied on Shelby with his long balls, and you've got Neves coming in there, and his through balls as well, 39 through balls. I just think with this ownership, they've demonstrated certain traits, and they will go after the player, and they'll go and they will put in a few what they class as shrewd deals, but they're not going to be anybody's mug, and they will move on. To be honest, this is a player who's been linked with Barcelona recently to replace Busquets. Ruben Neves, so he is in hot company. We might miss out on him, but Newcastle have proven, look, they'll devote so much time to land a player, and if they think nobody's playing ball, they will go and they'll move on. And I think you have to look and say he has proven he does have impressive stats. He's done well in a team that isn't performing well at the moment in Wolves. If he goes into a good side who's been in the top 4 for a lot of this season, what's he going to do? He's in an environment where he will be allowed to grow as a player. I think it's only a good thing, really. And again, if Newcastle were to miss out on Tielemans but get Neves, I applaud the owners here on that one, because just the point that I was raising earlier about how they're not messing about, they're not wasting their energy and letting a player just slip through the ranks that they've been chasing. They're going to another option and another strong option, and if they land him, then great.
Definitely. Ruben Neves, number 6, not your combative, traditional type of defensive midfielder. But what you will find is that he's very, very good on the ball. And, possession-wise, we are very, very good. We like to keep the ball. We like to keep possession. You could argue that at times Longstaff does give the ball away cheaply in possession at times. Not all the time, but on occasion, Ruben Neves will be able to keep that possession and keep things ticking very, very nicely. And Michael Parsons says, I'm just going to steal this for a second, Chris.
Yeah, go for it, mate. Go for it.
Michael Parsons said Ruben Neves' free kicks and passing is insane, and you are absolutely right. And look, me and Chris, we were there. We saw firsthand at Molineux this season, on the edge of the box, there is no one better. If that ball falls to Ruben Neves, he's got the ability to absolutely punish you. And it just adds to everything: set pieces, free kicks, corners, edge of the box, goal scoring, possession. What we're looking at is we're looking at a grade up. I'm not saying we're going to get Neves, but what we're looking at, and Keith, you alluded to this 110%, is that we're looking for the next level of player to come into Newcastle to raise the level and the standard of the team. But what was really interesting, lads, and Keith, look, you touched on this with regards to Neves potentially being a replacement for Busquets at Barcelona, because what the article also says is that Newcastle have potentially been offered Frank Kessie, who went on a free from AC Milan now, who also plays as a defensive midfielder. Not saying it's got any further than that, but what he does say in his article is that Barcelona, or he expects to leave at some point in this window. Now, look, Frank Kessie was absolutely outstanding at AC Milan. He was unbelievable. And he was one of the players that when we had the takeover initially announced, he was one of those players that I wanted at Newcastle, because I've watched him play. I know how good he is. Like, he can do everything. He's an all-rounder. He's a solid defensive midfielder. He's good on the ball. He can get forward and score goals. He kind of gives you the whole package. So it was really interesting that Craig Hope threw Frank Kessie in to that kind of discussion. There is that, has been offered to Newcastle. I don't know what his wages are like at Barcelona. I imagine the fact that he went on a free transfer, he would be on quite significant wages. But clearly not in favour from what Craig Hope's saying, and potentially looking to leave the club. Like, what do you guys make of that? Frank Kessie potentially being offered and being an option for Newcastle, maybe.
There's a lot of short-termism and instability at Barcelona at the minute. I mean, if you look at some of the signings they brought in last year, and some of the players that went out the door, like Aubameyang, Lewandowski coming in as well, is that a long-term signing despite how brilliant he is? There's players seem to be coming in and out the door, like at Barcelona with the revolving door, and they have to let players go because of the financial predicament. So that Frank Kessie link doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah.
And both Frank Kessie and Neves are both the right age, aren't they? Really, they're coming into their form. They're coming into their peak years, 25 and 26.
Yeah, Definitely. He's not wearing a Wolves top. Who put that on?
He always Keith always gets that. I was just laughing. It was Ashley Haddon. He's always saying,
Yeah,
he always gets it.
This is a cult Newcastle United shirt from the mid 2000s when Clivert used to wear in the Europa League. One of my favourite Newcastle shirts, away shirts. It's not a Wolves shirt. Wolves and Adidas have copied the shirt on their recent shirts.
Oh, brilliant, Ashley. That is
gets it every time, and all this Neves. It's like, Keith, you should turn round and prove you haven't got Neves on the back.
I think it's Stephen Carr or somebody on the back, actually.
Oh, it is.
There he is. Stevie Carr.
Second best right back to play for Newcastle United, in someone's opinion, not mine.
He got a legendary goal against Southampton away. I think it was Souness's first game, 2-1 away.
Was that the Thunderbolt?
Yeah, Thunderbolt.
Yeah. I think it was at the time in the league. It was their first win at Southampton since 1972 or something at the time.
Michael's not a fan of Stephen Carr. Actually, what made you get Stephen Carr? I'm really interested in that because I don't know anyone that's ever had a Stephen Carr on the back of their shirt.
It was a present. A long time ago, you know.
Don't worry, Keith. I used to have Carl Court on my shirt, so don't worry about it. Oh, by the way, Napoli are winning 4-1 against Juventus. Victor Osimhen.
Oh, Victor Osimhen.
How the mighty have fallen, and this could be insane. Imagine this. I mean, I think there's some lineage as well from the times that Argentina have won. Like Argentina last won the World Cup, the following year, Napoli won the league. Are we going to see some synergy in the same sort of season this year, where Argentina have just won the World Cup, or Napoli going to win the league in Italy they won it in 1990-91 with Maradona as well, but are they going to win it in that Argentina World Cup year?
Oh, interesting.
Good question.
Keep a close eye on that. That is for sure. Sorry, Chris.
Go on, mate.
Even Daz said, even I hate Stephen Carr. And he's an Irish national as well. And even he hates him. Yeah. Sorry about that. I just thought that was hilarious. Brilliant stuff.
I was just going to say, Pete, just to touch on Frank Kessie. For me, like Frank Kessie, you're right. At AC Milan, fantastic reputation. That's why he's ended up at Barcelona. You know, you don't accidentally end up at Barcelona. So, you know, fantastic player, did really well at AC Milan. Keith made a great point, you know, saying that Barcelona, obviously financial restrictions, very high wage bill. Would Frank Kessie be the perfect loan signing? You know, we keep talking about loans. Bring him in till the end of the season. See how he does. If we want to keep him, great. If it doesn't work out, thanks very much, Frank. See ya.
It's a cracking option, Chris.
It seems to be really strange as well, guys, that from a club under the Ashley regime that used to maximise the loans option, there doesn't seem to be a lot of loans these days under this new ownership model, really. So that would be a great option, wouldn't it? If they were to get somebody on loan, Frank Kessie on loan.
Yeah. Just to go back to Ruben Neves dead quick, because I know that's what we were originally talking about. Yeah. Michael Pomar says there, I'd put in a 40 million bid for Neves right now, but it'll probably take another 10 or 20 million to get him out of there. Think they were after 80 in the summer. With him having 18 months left on his deal, a very, very similar situation to Maddison. Exactly the same with the, contract length.
Yeah.
In a normal, if he had 5 years left on his deal, is Neves a 70, 80 million pound player? Is that fair to say? Would you say, given his age?
Given his age, I think. Look, let's face it. They brought Ruben Neves in the Championship at 20 million. Which I think was like some sort of record fee at that particular time when Wolves signed him, because it was when they had their takeover, had all that money, had the Portuguese links. They spent a lot of money on him. So look, he's not going to go for that sort of money. He's always going to go for bigger money because he's improved as a player since he's been there. I think you're right. I think 40 million gets him out the door. I'll be honest with you. I think Wolves would be mad to sell. To not sell Ruben Neves for 40 million, considering that in the article, it says that he's not considering signing a new deal. Wolves are in a relegation battle at the moment and could quite easily get relegated with him playing at the moment. And to be fair, he's playing well, but just like Tielemans with Leicester, even if you're playing well, it still doesn't mean that you're going to win matches. You can't win matches on your own. And Ruben Neves, we saw firsthand. We talked about it before at Molineux. He had a really good game. He scored a great goal. What I have seen, though, on social media, and I don't know what your thoughts are about this, is that since this news has come out, there's been a lot of Newcastle fans that have thrown some shade and some hate towards Ruben Neves for some of the comments that he made after the Newcastle game about us being a long ball team. I'll be honest, me personally, I don't care.
Yeah, don't give a fuck.
I don't care that he said that. For me, that was born out of frustration for two reasons. One, because his team's shit. And two, he looked at Newcastle, well, fucking class, and he wants to be a part of it. That's my opinion.
And they lost out to a last-minute winner, with the last-minute
equaliser.
Equaliser, yeah.
No, but do you know what, Pete? You're absolutely right. Like, people, us football fans, and I'm sure we'll all admit this deep down, everyone's very fickle. If we sign Ruben Neves tomorrow, everyone loves Ruben Neves. It's a fact. Yeah, I love him. Do you know what I mean? He plays for Newcastle, and that's how it is. As soon as he leaves, everyone will probably slag him off. It's just the way it is, isn't it? And just because he's made those comments, if anything, you may think I'm wrong here, but do we not like that? Do we not like the fact that he's got that little bit of shithousery about him? And that he's fuming and he wants, you know what I mean? You wouldn't want to see, as a Wolves fan, a Ruben Neves doing a post-match interview, being all smiles and going, "Oh yeah, it's one of them. Never mind." He needs to be coming out and going, we had them and we were better than them and blah blah blah. You want to see a bit of fight, don't you? I was anyway as a Wolves fan. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm just going to steal the comments for a second.
Go for it, mate. Yeah, go for it.
Interesting. Jordan Thune for Life said Lamina from Nice just confirmed as a Wolves player, just been announced. Now,
well, there you go then.
Doesn't mean anything at this point, but another centre midfielder coming to the club can play in the position that Ruben Neves currently occupies in the team. Probably more defensively solid than Ruben Neves. Not as good on the ball though. But is this Lopetegui manoeuvring the team and changing the style? You okay, Summer?
She's back.
Yeah, she's back on again.
For another away days.
Yeah, that's it. Is it Lopetegui moving the team around, changing it around? I don't know what you think about that. That was interesting. I didn't realize it was even that close to being the fact that it's been confirmed.
I heard last night, Pete, when I was on my way to Fussy, I was listening to TalkSport, and I heard last night that Lamina had been linked with Wolves, but I didn't realise it'd be that quick. So the fact that this news is breaking, is it people putting two and two together? The fact that it's Craig Hope breaking the news, I think would be a positive. Have Newcastle been speaking? Is this the delay? Have Newcastle been speaking with Wolves, and Wolves have gone, listen, give us time, we need to find a replacement. There's your replacement. How much does anybody know in the chat how much Lamina was?
Yeah, I mean, Jordy Tune for Life put it in the chat. So maybe if you can find out, Jordy Tune for Life, you might already know how much it was in terms.
It was believed. It's 11 hours ago. It was believed to be about 9.7 million for.
And they get 40 million back for Neves.
Yeah, no, interesting. Very, very interesting. Sorry, I'm stealing it again, Chris. I apologize. I just wanted to get in that Lisa said hello to Summer. Jordy Tune for Life saying Summer's in the house.
We don't know where the button is, do we? I don't know where the button is.
Yeah.
You normally get your music, don't you? But Daz isn't here, so you can't have your music. I don't know. Not on tonight. She's saying, where is he?
Where is he? Where's the music?
He's not going to appear. He's not here. She's waiting. I think she thinks he's going to pop up and start playing the music. So, Daz, you're very much missed tonight, mate. Very much missed. He's got it. She'd go on. She'd listen to that for hours as well. You know, we kept that on. She'd just be there bouncing.
I love it. Love
Now,
it.
come the end of February, if Newcastle get to Wembley, is that going to be on rinse? Is it on Chris all day as a celebration?
Yeah, we could. Yeah, that's right. We could do that, couldn't we? Play that if Newcastle win the Carabao Cup, we could play that song. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. That says I'm here. He's here. He's in the chat.
This does.
Just not on the show. I love it. But no, it's interesting. Jamie Bruton, welcome to the show. 8.9 million only. Yeah, it's an absolute snip. Getting him in. Jordan Two for Life has already said that. Also said the same. Interesting. Jamie's also said regarding FFP, what can we spend this summer? We asked the question to Keith Downey on Wednesday, and to be fair, he didn't know the answer. So I don't think we're going to know the answer.
Where's Kieran Maguire when you need him?
There you go. There you go. I mean, look, I'm sure we'll get him back on when the window's closed. I'm sure Richie will be in touch and get him back on just to mop up where we're at as a club with regards to FFP and to kind of just quieten some talk, because the media at the moment are just loving this FFP. Even some of our local media are loving this FFP, is calming things down as to why we can't spend and buy who we want. So Kieran Maguire, I'm sure at the end of the window will come and shore things up nicely and let all Newcastle fans know where we're at. So keep a lookout for that, and keep a lookout for some interesting shows with some interesting guests with regards to transfers. We will be discussing that a lot more in detail. There is no doubt about it.
Oh wow, 5-1. Jesus. First, seconds, 5-1.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But as it said, as you said, Keith, it just shows how far they've fallen. And I think we've got Garan Kowal coming on.
Oh, we've gone.
Thunder Mole is just mentioned on the chat. We'll keep an eye on that anyway. But look, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We've done an hour and a half. Talked all things Newcastle United preview. Got a little bit of breaking news in there, a little bit of transfer talk. I'm sure we're going to develop that and talk about that a lot more with the rest of the boys, with some transfer talk. And look, we've got some shows lined up for you guys next week. There is no doubt about it. So keep in touch, because we've got some more fantastic guests that are going to talk all things Newcastle United transfer. Yeah, and I think we're going to be celebrating and singing summertime again. There's no doubt about it. And if we get a signing and we announce it and we're talking about it on Loaded,
get it on.
That song's going to be on, no doubt about it. But look, Keith, absolute pleasure to have you on. 00 Stato, legend, some great stats, not only on Newcastle Fulham, but also Ruben Neves as well. And Chris, obviously, the main man. Always a pleasure, never ever a chore.
Always, mate.
Chat to you. But everyone in the chat, amazing as always. And look, we have to say massive thanks to our fantastic sponsors on the way out. We've got Shyburns, www.shyburns.com, for all your Shyburns gear. If you've got one of those hoodies, Daz has got one. Other things as well in there. You've got hats, variations of hats, winter hats, hats like mine that I'm wearing right now, different gear, and of course you've got your away day gear. And look, there's no one better to present your away day gear than the main man, Jordan Cronin. He's got his own away day, just like myself, repping the away days crew. So get involved and get involved in the away days gear there. And of course, Russ from the radiatorshed.com. Come and show your support. Keith's in the doghouse, in prison. And of course, the Radiator Shed. They provide top quality materials made from plate steel, providing longevity, all designed and manufactured in Italy. Aluminium rads are very environmentally friendly and perfect for heat source pumps. They offer a home service and will install it if required. So check it out if you haven't already. Get involved with Russ and the crew. They are fantastic, and you can see the quality in some of the pictures that we've got there. Become a member. If you're not already a member, become a member. You can only do it on your laptop. Click that blue button, $1.99 a month. It allows you guys to be part of the loaded draws that will be coming on monthly and be a part and have a chance of winning. Lots and lots planned with regards to draws. The man right next to me knows that because he is the main man on the button with regards to the draws and membership. So keep in touch. Become a member. We've had lots of new members recently. Come and join us. And of course, I have to remind you guys, we are at 5K. We are loaded 5K. Thank you to everybody. We're on the way to 6K. So come and join us. Loads of new faces in the chat tonight. Click that subscribe button. Come and join the channel and see what we've got available. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Amazing as always. Thank you to the mods that have been on tonight. Amazing. Thank you to the likes of, I'm just going to read some of them at the end of the tweet. You've got Adam McCarthy, welcome back. Not seen you for a while. Great to have you on. Jordy Team for Life, Jamie, Chris Banks, Lisa, obviously, our mod, Daz, for showing his support as always. Thunder for Mo, I could keep going all day long. Michael, Ash, Would I, Michael, Palmer. I could keep going, but I'm not going to. Have a great Friday evening. Fingers crossed for 3 points. I believe we're going to get them.
I do.
Thinking just before we go?
2-0.
2-0 from Chris. Newcastle United win. Keith?
Could be a 1-1, but it could also be a 1-0 or a 2-0 to Newcastle.
Yes.
Don't
Keith.
I want to say, though, I'm being very careful because remember the last time I came off the fence, a 0-0 draw against Leeds. So I'm sticking very careful, but fingers crossed, the good wave momentum from Tuesday, it's going to stay, and hopefully we're going to get those 3 points on Sunday. The dual win against Fulham at St. James's, hopefully it comes on Sunday.
I'll be honest, I'm going to go big. Newcastle 4-0. I'm going to go
4-0. Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to go big. I'm confident. Our team is absolutely class. Semi-finals, we're just a class team with players coming back and looking to sign quality players. Why not be confident? That is for me. 4-0 Newcastle United. I think it's one of them for all of us. A Newcastle United win, a Chris special. Thank you, Summer, as well. Pleasure. You guys take care. And of course, we do love playing away. How do you like that?
Drink it, like weed and tell me if you like that.